What's up, guys? This is Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall markets. I'm going to break down why the market's gapping up like this and how this could end up panning out as time goes on. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link that's down below, or use my QR code right over here to sign up. If you sign up for Moomoo with the link down below and deposit $100, you're going to get $20 for free Nvda stock. If you deposit $2,000 or more, you're going to get $50 worth of Nvda plus a $100 cash reward. Deposits $10,000 or more to get $300 worth of Nvda for free plus $100. Or deposits $50,000 or more to get $1,000 of free Nvda plus $100. You're also going to qualify for an 8.1% APY on invested cash. The offer ends very soon, so please use my link down below to sign up. Anyways, so as far as the market's going this morning, we're gapping up very nicely. But the question is, will we just gap up and then just start running and start breaking all this resistance and start pushing much higher? Or do we end up just dumping back down to fill this gap? Well, it depends on the news and our levels. I want to warn everyone to be very, very careful about this because of what's happening so far. So as you guys know that with what President Trump has announced, there was a lot of tension over the weekend about how China had new export restrictions that were coming out, and President Trump announced high tariffs on China. He says that starting November 1st, he wanted to impose a 100% tariff on China. That was very, very big news, and that caused the market to sell off very hard. There was a lot of fear that's kind of like came in, and the market just dumped very hard. But then yesterday in the morning, we got one update. President Trump then said, "Don't worry about China. It will be fine. Highly respected President Xi just had a bad moment. He doesn't want depression for his country, neither do I. And the USA wants to help China, not hurt it." That's what President Trump said. So President Trump is telling us once again not to worry. Everything's going to be okay. And he said that the US wants to help China, not necessarily hurt it. So that's a very, very important claim by him. So with this, he's kind of like telling us to stay calm, don't worry about things, and the market has gapped up very nicely as a result. When asked if he's going to meet up with Xi Jinping, he basically said that the meeting was never canceled, and that of course he wants to meet up with him. So that was very optimistic, a big change in, once again, the overall dynamic, and we're going to see what happens as time goes on. Once again, we had JD Vance and many other figures who are saying that President Trump will be negotiating with China. And we'll have to see what happens with the tariffs and such, and what happens with these export restrictions. It's going to be very, very important. I still think there's a lot of things that have to be unraveled. But as of right now, the market is gapping up. It's holding up decently so far. Now, today is Monday, October 13th. It's also Columbus Day, so banks are basically closed. But the equities markets, the stock market is open for now. There's nothing really significant coming out for today as a result of the fact that it's Columbus Day. We just have one Fed speaker and that's it. And there's nothing too big for earnings today. Tomorrow we do have the big earnings for banks, but that's tomorrow. Today there's not really much. So we're in a range this morning, okay? So if SPY could push past 663, our next target is going to be that 665 to 666 area right up here. And if we break 665 to 666, then we could see SPY rally once again towards all-time highs, right? That's going to be really, really bullish. Okay. So I would say 663 and 666, if you break those, you're bullish. But if we turn south and if we lose 659, then I think we might be coming back down to fill this gap to about 653. And then we'll see if we could hold 653 or not, which is where the 200 EMA happens to be. So once again, in a nutshell, it's quite simple. Do we pump? Do we reject? Well, when you look at this, we're gapping up very nicely. But I can't make promises about the direction yet. It depends. Break 663, we're going for 665 to 666. Break that, and we're going for new all-time highs again. Right back up for a full V-shaped move right back up. But if we kind of push here and reject and lose 659, we have this big gap to fill below. So watch those levels. We're consolidating between these levels right now. Watch and see which way we break and follow the price action. Be very patient with this. And we're also going to see if President Trump gives us more updates involving the situation. But for now, we're gapping up very nicely. We could try to push a little bit upon open, but let's see if we could break resistance or not. It is best to be very patient and to just follow price action for now. That's the best thing I could really tell you. On the triple Q, if we could break the 603 area, I think we could rally for this level right here. That's going to be like 607.5 or above. If we break this red line here, we could basically go towards all-time highs, right? That's our 200 EMA at 604. So break that 603 to 604 range, and we're really bullish on the QQQ. But if we lose 597.5, if we lose that, I think we dump back down to fill the gap at 590. So watch your levels. We do look like we want to push for now, but we're going to see if this could continue. We're going to gap up and try to go a little higher. We're up almost 2% in the pre-market. So we'll see if we could hold up or not. I do want to warn you to be careful. On the IWM, if we end up losing 240, we're looking for a dump to fill this gap. But if you break past 242, we're looking for a push for essentially 243. We're kind of going back and forth here, so we're going to see if we reject or not. So be very, very careful. We're also just consolidating on the IWM. We could be going either way. Break 243, we're looking for essentially 240, 244 or above, back up towards the highs. We're actually not that far from them. But if we end up losing essentially 240, we have a gap to fill back down to 236. On ES, we're holding up well. The question is ES going to gap up and go? Is this going to be like a head and shoulders, or do we just continue to run? Break 6,700, then we're looking for 6,740. But if we reject near 6,640, we're going to be turning back down to fill the gap at 6,600. It depends. If 6,640 fails us, we have a gap to fill below. But if we break 6,700, we're looking for a push. We honestly could go either way, but like I said before, follow the price action, be very, very patient, and we'll see which way this market takes us. It is best to be as patient as possible because it is, once again, a very tricky market. And once again, you want to be very unbiased. For NQ, if we're bullish, you want to break 25,000 to push. If we lose 24,700, we have a gap to fill back down to 24,400. There's this head and shoulders like pattern, so we'll see which way we go. We'll see if we push more. We're in the middle, so play this in a very unbiased manner. The range is between 24,700 and 25,000. Break 25,000, we're bullish, but lose 24,700, we come back down to fill the gap. Be unbiased, and let's see which way we end up going. Bitcoin is starting to make lower highs right here. We need to get back above 115,000. If we can't, there's going to be a risk of it dipping back down towards 113,000. So be careful with Bitcoin. Tesla needs to break 426. If we break that, we're looking for 430. Break that, and I think Tesla could run a lot more, closer to 440. So watch 426 and 430 on Tesla. If we lose 420, though, we could be dipping back down to like 409 to fill that gap. So be careful. Nvda needs to get back above 190 to continue to push, but if we lose 188, there's a gap to fill back down to 183. So be careful. Appl needs to hold above 250 to continue. If not, we have a gap to fill back down to 245. AMD, it's starting to come down. It looks like it might fill the gap to 215 unless we hold above 222. I'm seeing weakness on AMD. Coinbase needs to get back above 368 to continue. If it doesn't, there's a gap to fill back down to 350. On Amzn, we're making lower highs. We need to hold above 220 to continue. If not, we could be coming down to fill the gap at 215. Meta has resistance at 713. If it doesn't hold, we have a gap to fill at 705. Google's making lower highs here. We need to get back above 242. If not, we could be continuing to fall to fill this gap. So watch 239 as our main support. If it doesn't hold, there's a gap to fill at 236. Microsoft needs to break 519 to be bullish, but if we lose 516, we're going to be turning back down. This looks like it might dip to me, but we'll see just to be safe. Same thing with Oracle. If we end up losing 296, there's a gap to fill below, but if we break 300, we're bullish, so we're still range bound. The VIX rejected near the 22 area as we predicted, but the question is, will the VIX push back up to fill that gap, or does it just reject from here? Could go either way, so watch your levels just to be safe, and we'll see what happens. Thank you all so much for listening. Make sure you watch your levels and be very unbiased for now, and we'll see which way we end up breaking. The market could go either way, but be patient, watch your levels, and we'll see which way we end up going. Pay attention to the levels I called out, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you for listening, and peace out.